In this Patreon-only tutorial, I will show you how to draw this metal bird step by step. Please make sure to download the tutorial files, and if you are ready, let's grab our pencils and get started. For today's drawing, I've created a canvas of 2000 by 2500 pixels and set DPI to 300. To draw the bird, I'm gonna use mostly standard Procreate brushes from Inking and airbrushing sections. And I also made a few brushes with Celtic patterns that will add on the metal parts. This is the color palette, in which I honored some of my new patrons. If you joined recently and your name is not there yet, don't worry, it will appear in the next videos for sure. Tutorial files also include a texture overlay image and a sketch file, so we can start with the coloring part straight away. Let's just import the sketch into the project. To start adding colors, I will create a new layer and place it under the sketch. Let's also reduce the opacity of the sketch layer, so it's not so distracting. I think around 25% or so will work. Now we are on a new layer. I'm going to the color palette to select Angela color. To apply this color, we can use a brush from Inking, for example Technical Pen, or it can be Studio Pen if you like, or you can also use Selection, but this time I will go with Technical Pen, with the size set to around 20%. Let's outline this metal part that starts from the head and goes to the right. I will start from the corner and try to make a longer stroke. To make it smooth, I will just fix it here and then continue. Follow all the curves. On the head now. Adding this small curve, and after that I will finish outlining it on the opposite side. Like this. Let me connect these two. And after that I will drag the color inside to fill the shape. Let's check it out without the sketch, so we can see all the imperfections and fix them if needed. I will make this tip sharper, just a little bit. Like this. I think the rest is fine. Maybe here. And after that I will shade this shape. For that I will create a new layer, right above this one, and clip it. I prefer using clipping masks, rather than alpha lock, so you can always fix the shading if needed. Now I will change the color to Anastasia. And for shading, I'm going to use soft brush from airbrushing. It will work quite well here. We can set the size to around 10 or 11% and start shading it gradually. I will go up from the head. Let's also shade this part. Darken it a little bit. And after that I will go even darker, using Sandra color. Let's darken the head a bit more, on the tip. Then also here, and in the end I will apply a lighter color. That is called Marty. Let's highlight the tip this way, doing it with low pressure. And on the tip I will press even more. I think we can add a subtle stroke somewhere here. Okay, with the same color I want to add some thickness to the shape. But I will do it on another layer. So let's create it above this one. And then also clip. I will also go to change the brush. It needs to be a little bit harder. So we can try medium hard airbrush. From airbrush and set. Let's set the size to around 19%. And try to make a stroke here. Very thin. It may go a little upper. And more to the right side. We can also use a razor. Just set it to soft brush. And erase it a little bit. Alright. We will get this. Now let's go back to brush and apply this color again, this time on top. I think I will make the size a bit smaller and start from here. Try to make this line thin. And smooth. Let's go down a little. Try to make it parallel. And it'll end here, on the curve. I will try to match it. Also make it smooth enough. Since there is no stabilization in this brush, it may be not very easy. But we can still achieve the result. I will also use a razor on some areas to get the smoothness. Alright, I think this is enough. In the next step I'd like to apply the pattern, and I will also do it on another layer, so we can actually merge these three and then create a new one. Here we will need the sketch, so we can see this line in the middle. I'd like to apply the pattern above the line. So let's not forget to clip the layer to the base. And I will set it to soft light. With this blended mode I like to use black and white colors. So let's start with white. We can pick it right from the background and go to select the pattern. It's here in the set. Let me start with Celtic Pattern 2. This brush is pressure sensitive, so it'll change the size if I press more. Let me increase the size a little. I think it can be set to around 8%. And I will start from the tip. First apply low pressure and increase it here on this curve. Let me show you. Here I'm pressing more, going down, and then changing it again. We will get something like this. Let me remove the sketch again. And after that I will duplicate the layer. Let's go to this one, which is located below, and invert it. Now we can't see anything, but if we click on the arrow and tap once this way, it will appear. If you like, you can tap one more time to add even more volume to the pattern, like this. We can now grab a razor, which is set to soft brush, and erase it a little bit at the bottom, both dark and light color. So it'll be like faded. All we need to do is add this line that goes in the middle. So let's also create a new layer and grab Malcolm color. I will switch back to technical pen. The size is still set to 20%. I think we can clip the layer. So we don't have to be very accurate on this edge. The line will get thicker if we press more. So we can do it here. And then go down with low pressure. Alright, now let's do this. We don't need the sketch now. And I will go to erase the tip. Both here and here. After that, I will duplicate the layer. Let's now go to this one and change its color. We can do it easily if we alpha lock the layer. Pick the color, for example Marty. Go back to the layer and from the menu select Fill Layer. It will be filled. Now we can unlock it. Move it a little bit to the right side, diagonally. And maybe even blur it a little. Using Gaussian blur. I think around 1%, so we can see it only on this side, and it doesn't go upper. When it's ready, we can go to the next shape. So all these layers can be merged. After that, I will create another one below. And bring back the sketch. Next, we can draw this part below. So I will use Angela color again as the base color. And also technical pen. Outline only the top part of it. So let me start from here. Start from the upper edge. And then draw like this. Dividing the shape into two parts. Then there is a circle. That we can draw using Quick Shape tool. We just need to wait a second until it works. Now let's connect the invisible part and also fill. Now we can start shading it. For that I will also create a new layer above. To see the location of shadows better, let's first add these details. So I will grab Malcolm color. And from airbrushing, I will select medium hard airbrush. Its size is set to around 38%. And I will draw a circle. This one. So it will have soft edges. Let me check it out. And after that I will create a new layer, right above this one. This time I will be using Priscilla color. Make the size a bit smaller, at around 25%, and draw a smaller circle inside, like this. Now let's go to adjustments and apply Gaussian blur on it. At around 4%. I will remove the sketch for now, so I can see all the edges. And to this shape, I'd like to apply bloom feature to make it glow. So let's also find it in adjustments and try to slide to the right. I will stop at around 34% and start playing around with the settings. I will reduce transition, let's say to around 40%. We can also play around with the size and burn. Just see what you like more. I think I will keep it like this. Bloom 34%, transition 40%, size 20% and burn 33%. Now I will continue using the sketch. Go back here and create another layer. It will be located right under the dark circle. So this time I will change the color to Teresa and draw the last circle. We can increase the size a little bit and paint it this way, as it is on the sketch. Let's check it. I will try to make it more perfect. Look more at the circle. So now it is better. Let's shade this part. So we can actually alpha lock it. And change the color to crease. This time I will switch to soft brush. Let's make the size smaller and draw around the dark circle to add the shadow. After that I will work on the edge and add light color on it. So let's select Marty. We can continue using the same brush. Adjust the size a little bit. And highlight the edge, like this. Also draw at the bottom and go a little up. This is how it'll look. I will adjust it quickly. Work more on the edge. And now if you can see some imperfections, you can use a razor to fix it. I will just set it to medium hard airbrush. Now that's better. We can proceed to shading. So let's go back to the third layer, create another one above it, and clip. Let's use all the same colors as we used on the first shape. So I will start with Anastasia. And continue using soft brush. Let's just make the size a little bit bigger and make a subtle stroke here to darken it a little bit. I will also go to the right side and then work on the tip. Darken it as well. But actually we can make it even darker. So let's switch to Sandra. I will put it here. Lower the size and start adding the shadow this way, around the circle. Also on the right side. And under this part. But we will shade it even later, after we merge these layers with the circle. Okay, now let's switch to the light color, which is called Marty, and put it here. In the central part. Now let's switch to medium hard airbrush to add thickness. So I will make the size smaller at around 14% and draw a line from the tip. Create a new layer. Clip it and draw a line from the tip. On the edge. Go all the way to the side. Here I'm trying to press more to make the edge not so soft. But we could even use monoline from calligraphy here to make it sharp. Let me adjust it a little with a razor. Then I will alpha lock it. Switch to Sandra. Also pick soft brush and darken it a little here. Apply low pressure, like this. We can now tap and hold here to go back to the previous color and switch back to medium hard airbrush. We need to unlock the layer to be able to paint on it. And this time I will apply the color at the lower edge. Also starting from here and going a little down. Work on the edge. Highlighting it and going to this side. When it's done, we can add the pattern. And for that I will create a layer above this one. Then clip it. Set it to soft light. And start with white color. Here I'd like to apply Celtic Pattern 3. We just need to pick the size. At my end it is set to 8%. So I will just make a stroke. Also starting from here and drawing like this. Now let's click on the arrow and try to distort it. To make it follow the shape. We can even try to switch to warp. To add curves to it. Or Liquify tool would also work. I will just drag it below to place it under the lines. So now it looks better. After we did that, let's go to duplicate the layer with white color. Then go here and invert. So it will be black. Now we only need to move it. So let's click on the arrow, switch back to uniform and try to tap once or twice if you like. We will get a result like this. I think it looks quite nice. So we can continue and maybe even add a highlight here on the edge. So I will go back to the layer number 8. It's this one. Select multicolor again. And also medium hard airbrush. I will apply the color here on the edge around the circle. This way. To add thickness to it. So the thicker line you make, the thicker shape will look. Let me finish it here. Then I will grab a razor, switch to soft brush and erase it a little bit, somewhere in the center, so it will be more seen on the sides. This part is almost ready. I think we can maybe just make the shadow a bit darker around this circle. For that, let's go back to the layer number 7. It's the layer with shading. And grab even a darker color. Let it be Malcolm. I will select soft brush here, but make the size smaller. And add a darker shadow this way, very close to the circle. Just one stroke here, and another one here, to make it slightly darker. This is better now. Alright. Let's now use the sketch here. Create a layer and place it under all layers. We need to finish this part. So I will select base color called Angela and also technical pen from Inkin. Outline this remaining part. Let me start from here. Match it with the tip and outline it following the sketch. Making it smooth. Let's connect them. Also on the invisible part. And then fill. I will remove the sketch and check. Need to fix it here. I will be using monoline brush as an eraser. Just want to make it perfect. Because in this style it is crucial. I think it is fine now. Let's shade it quickly. So here I will also create a new layer and add a clipping mask. Let's start with Anastasia together with soft brush. Increasing the size and making strokes here, going a bit to the right. Let's also work on the tip and then darken it even more. So I will select Sandra. Make a few strokes here. Maybe another one this way. And then I will add a lighter tone. It will be Marty. Just making a stroke here in the center. Now we can change the brush to medium harder brush. And make a stroke on the edge, on this part. I will try to make it thin. Also on this curve. And at the lower edge. Starting from here. I'm trying to be careful because we have it on the same layer with the shading, so we can't use a eraser. But I think it turned out quite well. We only need to add the shadow. So let's select Malcolm color. And also switch back to soft brush. I will put it here around the circle. Go a little down. And a bit to the right. With an angle. So it follows the shape. Let's continue. On the right side. Maybe it doesn't look like metal yet, but we will apply a texture later, so it'll look even better. For now we only work on the shading. The shadow is ready. I think we can go ahead and merge these layers. I will just go here and maybe fix this corner. I will make it less visible, like this. We can do it because the outlines are on a separate layer. Alright. Maybe also here, because it is in shadow. And after that, these layers can be merged. Starting with this one. And including all the layers with clipping masks. Before we merge them all, I think I will go back to layer number 5 and add even more glow to it. So I will adjust bloom settings. I will slide more to the right. To around 36%. Then work with transition and size. We can also adjust burn. I think now it is better. I will deselect. And after that, we can totally merge all these layers, excluding layer number 2. So we can add a cast shadow to it. For that I will create a new layer above, then also clip it. And we need to use a dark color, so let's keep this one. Soft brush is fine, it is already selected, so we only need to add it under this edge. This way it will be applied to the entire shape and look natural. Let's also go down. And now this part is in shadow. Okay, now these are ready. Let's continue working and draw another shape below, so we can merge these and maybe even these two. After that, create another layer below. Let's select Emma color and make sure we have technical pen set as a brush. Just outline the shape. This one will be easy, since it doesn't have too many curves. Let's just connect it on top and then fill. I will add shading on a separate layer. So let's create it and add a clipping mask. Since the color is dark, we can lighten it. Starting with fake color. Select soft brush. Increase the size to around 10% and start painting with low pressure, like this. After that, I will switch to Ollie. Highlight it here. And after that, go to change the brush. This time I will switch to medium hard airbrush. We can try to create a new layer to feel more confident, but then also clip it. Let's add a highlight on the lower edge. So I will remove the sketch to see it better. Let's make it a little bit wider, so the size can be set to 14%, and I will start from here, making a stroke at the bottom. Like this. Maybe it can go even upper. And go to the side. Just like this. And after that we need to add the shadow. So we can merge these layers and then create another one. Let's also add a clipping mask and try to set the layers mode to multiply to make the color very dark. So we can select Emma again and switch to soft brush to make shading softer. Let's decrease the size and start drawing around the shape for the shadow. Also go to the right. Like this. Let's also try to paint here around the shape, and we can see it slightly. I will just make it a little bit wider here. Now we can totally merge these two layers and also these two. Let's try to add the metal texture to it. And to do it, I will insert an image overlay. It's in the tutorial bundle. And the file is called Rusty. I think we already used it to create a stained glass effect. So let's use it again. We can try to rotate it to make it vertical, like 90 degrees clockwise. And after that I will flip it vertical. It may be also horizontal, like this. Let's move it and then clip it. Then we need to go and desaturate it by setting saturation to none. In the layer, I will change the blending mode to overlay. And this is what we will get. Actually, you can try to move it however you want, or if you want to make it lighter, you can just invert it, and you will get the opposite result. I think I will keep it dark. Maybe just try to move it. to find better positions of light and dark colors. Like this. Let's keep them separately, so we can later duplicate the image and apply it to more shapes. I think now we can start working on the feathers. So let's use the sketch here. Create another layer and place it under all layers. Actually, we can draw only one row of feathers, and after that duplicate it and scale. It will be faster this way. On the feathers I'm going to use 3 different colors. Let's start with Donalyn. Technical pen is selected. I think I will just make the size a bit smaller and draw the first feather. Here we can apply Quick Shape tool and adjust the shape. Let's connect it and fill. After that I will create a layer below and draw the second feather. So they consist of 2 arcs each. Very easy to draw. Connecting it here and fill in. I will continue this way, drawing a few feathers. Let me draw this one. Also edit it, connect and fill. Here comes the 4th one, and for that I will create a layer below. Let's draw another one below. It will be the 5th one. Then one more. And somewhere here we can change the color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we can draw one more. So let's do it. And after that I will do this. I will alpha lock the layer and change the color to James. Then also select soft brush, make it big size, and apply a subtle stroke, so the color will change slightly. Now we can continue using the same color on a new feather. Let's not forget to place it below. And also select technical pen for drawing. So this time it'll go like this, with a different color. This way we will get a smooth transition between the tones. I've created another layer to continue drawing. Let's draw a few feathers like this. until we switch to another color. So I'm creating another layer. Filling it. And I think I will draw one last feather with the same color. Now let's draw another one. Then alpha lock it. And select color Mina. Also apply it using soft brush with very low pressure. After that I will be creating more layers to paint the remaining feathers. Let's drag it down and select technical pen. So now I will go faster to finish it. Another one. And two more. Seems that we have so many layers. But this way the shading will be easier. We could actually draw them on one layer, but then we would need to use selection to separate them from each other. And I think it would take even more time. Now these are ready, let's proceed to shading. And we need to do them one by one. So let's go to the first layer that we created. It's this feather. And for it I will create a layer above. Clip it. Set it to overlay. First grab black color that we can do from the color disc. And switch to soft brush. Now every feather drops shadow on the second one. Since we are on this one, we need to add a cast shadow here first. Then select white color. Apply it on the tip and also on this edge. We can merge them and go to the next layer. Repeat exactly same actions. Setting it to overlay mode. Switching to black color and adding a shadow from the feather. Then selecting white and highlighting the tip. So it's very easy. Let's continue doing it on the remaining feathers. So I'm merging, going here, and repeating all the same steps. You can actually pause now and do it on your own. So let's see the result that you get. I will do it on every feather, without skipping any. shadow, and highlight. Merging, and go into the next one. We can switch between the colors easily if you tap and hold here on the circle. Adding the shadow again, and then a highlight. Continue doing the same. We can even try to remove the sketch, so we can see the result right away. Adding the shadow, and after that a highlight. Now we have this feather with a different color, but still we need to do the same. The same effect will be applied to it. So the color doesn't really matter here. It'll just look slightly different. Now let's continue working on this. Adding a shadow. Trying to make it parallel. And then a highlight. Here comes the next one. Shading. And then white. Switching to the next feather. And repeating the same steps. Actually, we could try to draw only one feather and then duplicate and distort it, but I think it would take even more time. And distortion would ruin the quality a little. So in this particular case, I prefer drawing the feathers one by one, even though we will spend a bit more time. But the result is worth it. Let's work on this one. Then this one with different color. Also add shadow first. And then a highlight. We have only these green feathers left, so let's finish them quickly. I will also add the shadow. We can try to press more here, since this part is a little bit darker. And then I will add a subtle highlight. Let's continue. Draw on the next feather. Highlight it a little. Switch to the next one. And finish it this way. I will also make it a bit darker and add a highlight. I have only two left, so let me do them. Overlay mode, black color, and then white. Merging and working on the last one. I will shade it exactly the same way. Just maybe press more. Let's also merge it. And I think we can actually merge all the layers for the feathers. Before we add final shading and details, let's try to duplicate it. Go to this one, click on the arrow, and make it bigger. We can also try to rotate it. And match it with the sketch, as much as it is possible. Actually, we can also use distortion. Alright, I think something like this. We can now remove the sketch and continue applying shadows and textures. So let's first work on this. I will create a layer above it and clip. Let's first add the shadow. For that I will select black color and also set the lace mode to hard light. Let's use soft brush and start adding the shadow here, under this dark shape. Let's go a little down and shade it this way. Also add the shadow on the first feather. After we did that, let's also do this. I want to add some thickness to the feathers. And for that I will create a new layer. We can actually try to place it below this one. I will select multicolor and also technical pen. We just need to make the size a bit smaller. Around 13% will work. And I will draw on every edge. Like this. Actually, we can try to change the lace blending mode. For example, set it to overlay. I think looks better now. So I will continue. I'm doing it after we duplicated the layer, so we can later do the same here, and the thickness will stay the same, even though the shapes are big. Let me do it here on this one. Another one. And actually we need to do the same on all of them. Just be very careful. But actually, since we are on a new layer, you can always use a razor to fix the lines. And we don't have to create a new layer for each feather. This way doing it faster. The last one. And this is done. Let's also apply metal texture to it. So I will merge these layers, then duplicate inserted image, drag it here, and clip. I think I will change the layers mode to soft light to make the texture less visible. This is better. We can also try to move it to find a better color. I will put it here. Now let's do the same on the next level of feathers. But actually before that, we need to fill this empty space here. And for that I will create a layer between these two to draw another shape. We will need sketch for that. Let's first grab Emma color. It's this dark one. And draw this arc. Make sure it covers the lower row of the feathers. So we can't see the edge. I will just connect it this way and then fill it. Let's now add a lighter color. So we can actually add fray first. Do it on another layer with a clipping mask. And select soft brush. I will paint slightly here at the lower edge. And after that switch to Ollie. Also change the brush to medium hard airbrush. And draw an arc on the edge. Like this. Once it is done, we can switch to the feathers. So I will merge these two layers and then go to this one. Let's also first add the shadow to it. So I'm creating another layer, clipping it, and we need to set it to hard light. Then switch to black color. Let's select soft brush, and I will remove the sketch. Let's start painting on top. We can also add a shadow here on the edge, and then this way, under this arc, and then here, under the feathers. I'm applying very low pressure here, so the color is not getting too dark. Alright, I think this is fine. We only need to add these light lines. So let's create a layer between these two. And grab Marty Color together with Technical Pen. We can set it to overlay mode right away. And start drawing the lines on the edge. Starting from here and going to the tip. I will try to make them same thickness as we did on the first row. So it's like same metal, but bigger shapes. Let me do it a bit faster. To finish them all. We can make adjustments if needed, because it is on another layer. So it is very easy to work. Let me draw on this. And the last ones that are green. Alright, these are also ready. Let's add the texture. So I will duplicate this image once again. Actually, we can duplicate this one. It is already in soft light mode. I will just drag one of them down and it will be clipped. We can now move it. I will just drag it slightly upper. Now the wing is absolutely ready. We can finish the body quickly. So I will merge these layers and also these two, still keeping the texture separately. Now I will create a layer under this wing. Let's now select Fake Color and use Technical Pen, but we will need the sketch. We need to outline the body. I will start from here and do it this way. Connecting it and fill in. Now we can also apply shading to it. So I will create a new layer and then clip. I will just add Emma color using soft brush. So we can add shadow here on the head, under this metal part. Go a little to the right side. And also add a shadow under the feathers. just as an arc. Now we only need to add some thickness. And for that I will be using Ollie color. Just switch to medium harder brush and work on the edge. I think we can create a new layer for that, so it can be fixed easily. We also need to clip it and adjust the size of the brush. I will start from here and add a thin line on the edge. Also on this part. Very thin. Now let's draw an eye. For that I will create another layer. Grab Priscilla color and draw a circle. We can try to use the sketch, but invert it to see this shape. We can actually continue using medium harder brush. Go to this new layer that we created and draw the circle. Actually, it'll look as an arc. Let's try to apply bloom to it right away. We just need to slide to the right, then adjust transition and size, so it'll start to glow. Let's keep it like this. Transition at 30%, size 16 and burn 38%. These are my own preferences. Now I will deselect. And next I'd like to draw the beak. We can now merge these layers, including the eye. Let's invert the sketch again to see it. And create a layer below this one. The beak will consist of two shapes. For the first one, I will select James color and draw it using technical pen. We can make the size smaller to make the sharp tip and draw it. Connecting and fill in. Let's now create another layer below to draw the second part of the beak. And for that I will select Donnelly. Also draw it. Let's match it and fill. Now we can shade it quickly, so we don't need the sketch. I will just adjust the shapes before shading, so there are no gaps. Now we can actually alpha lock the layer to avoid clipping mask. Pick the color right from here and select soft brush, but with a small size, since the shape is small. I will apply it here, on the left side, and here under the head. Now let's go back to this part and also alpha lock it. Here we need to apply some dark color to add the cast shadow, so let it be Fey. I will just make a stroke here. For the shading. Now the beak is also ready. Let's draw the legs. I'm merging these two layers and creating another one. We can actually use the same color that is already selected. I'm switching back to technical pen, and we can actually draw only one leg and then duplicate it. So let's first draw this part. Make these rounded corners and go up. Let's also connect it and fill. Now we can apply shading. So I will create a new layer and clip. I will first apply Emma color using soft brush. Make the size a bit bigger and paint on the right side. Also here. Now we can add a lighter color. It will be Ollie. So we need to apply it on the left. And also at the bottom. Now let's select medium harder brush and draw a line here. Just do whatever is more comfortable for you. Let me check it out. I think we can now finish this one. So I will merge these two layers and create another one below. Let's use the same colors as we used on the beak. And first one will be Donalyn. I'll be using technical pen to draw it. Just draw on the sketch. And follow all the curves. Let's now fill it. And shade it. I will be using alpha lock. Just switch into Fey. And also soft brush. Making the size smaller. And then adding a stroke on the left side to darken it a little. We can also paint this part into dark. It is totally ready. We can now merge these two layers. And using the sketch duplicate it. Let's go to this one. Move it. And rotate. Let's place it this way. If you like, you can try to distort it to match it with a sketch. Now we only need to make it a little bit darker. And we can do it by applying hue saturation brightness. Just decrease brightness a little. And also saturation. Then deselect. After that, we can try to apply metal texture on these parts. So we can merge them all. Then I will duplicate this image and drag it down. Let's now move it. I think now it is better. We only need to draw the tail, but before that, let's try to duplicate the wing. Now I'm merging these two layers together with the texture and also feathers, all of them. So we have all the layers for the wing on one layer. Now let's duplicate it and drag one of them below to place it right above the background color. Now we can distort it. So let's click on the arrow and use distortion. I will just drag it this way and match it with the sketch. After that, I will grab a razor and remove some of the parts. For example, the head and these feathers at the bottom, so they are not seen. Let's also add a shadow here. For that, I'll create a new layer and clip. I will set it to hard light and select black color. Using soft brush, I will make a stroke here. On the wing. It will get some volume. And after that, we can proceed to the tail. So these two layers can be merged. And I will create another one. We can also place it here, under all layers. For the tail, I will be using all the same colors that we used on these metal parts. Starting with Angela. So let's grab Technical Pen and start drawing these feathers one by one. Starting from here. Actually, since these feathers look almost same, with the same shape and size, we can try to draw only one feather and then duplicate it multiple times. So let's draw the biggest one. It comes third. Here I will draw a straight line and then draw an arc. Try to make the tip sharp. It may intersect a little. Then I will connect it and fill. Let's check it out. I think everything is fine here. We can add the shading and the pattern right away, so we have less work. Okay. Let me create a new layer above this one and clip. I think I will use the sketch to see the location of shadows. First of all, I will switch to Anastasia color and use soft brush to apply it. I will add it this way, almost on the entire shape. Then switch to Sandra and add it here for the cast shadow. The next feather will cover it, so it needs to go a little upper than the sketch, like this. Now we can add the pattern. And for that I will create a new layer. Let's not forget to clip it. And set to soft light. Let's start with white color. Then select a pattern. This time it will be Celtic pattern 1. With the size set to around 5%. We just need to make a stroke. That'll go this way. Well, I think we can make it a bit bigger. Like 7. We can adjust it by stretching. And after that I will go to duplicate the layer. Let's go to this one and invert it. Now we only need to tap to move it. So let's click on the arrow. And I think this time I will tap here. So it'll look slightly different, like the pattern is printed inside the metal. We can try to tap again. We can actually merge these two layers, but I will try to keep the patterns separately. I will just create another layer above them. Let's also clip it and set it to overlay to add a lighter color. Let's try to use white. I will just switch to medium hard airbrush and add it here on top edge. Also make another stroke on the arc. Like this. Let's now try to select all the layers for this feather and group. Then start duplicating the group. Let me go to this one and I'd like to put it here. So I will click on the arrow and move it up. Then rotate it. To match it with the sketch we can try to use distortion. Just drag it to different sides. Okay. It got a little bit blurry, but we can do this. First flatten the group and then sharpen it, but not much. I will use it at 31%. Let's remove the sketch and see what we got. I think it looks quite nice, so let's continue and add more feathers exactly same way. But I will be duplicating the group. Let's move this one. Then we can also adjust its location and angle. Just put it here. If it got a little blurry as well, we can also flatten and sharpen it. Let's duplicate the group once again. Maybe we can flatten it right away. The one that is on top. And after that move it. Rotate and scale. I will be using uniform transformation. but then switch to freeform. First we can try to drag this square to adjust the selection, and then stretch it. We can use warp tool here. If you like to make it look exactly like the sketch, or just keep it however you like. I will only sharpen it a little. Not much. Let's duplicate the group once again. Drag it up. And then move it down. Also scale it. And put it this way. Actually, we only need to match it here. On the top edge. Let me sharpen this one. But first we need to flatten it. And duplicate the group a couple of more times. Move it upper. Let me flatten this one. And then I will move it. Scale it. And match it with the sketch. I will sharpen it a little bit. And duplicate the group one last time. Also drag it up. Flatten. And move. This feather will be the smallest. So I will scale it. And rotate. Let me use distortion here. Alright. Then I will sharpen it as well. And after that we can merge all these layers. I will remove the sketch. And do it this way. We can only add the cast shadow that comes from the body. For that I'll create a new layer and clip it. Let's set it to hard light and grab black color from the color disk. I will also select soft brush and add the shadow this way with very low pressure. Now we only need to apply the texture. So let's duplicate the inserted image, drag it down, and adjust the location. I think we can try to invert this one to make it a bit lighter. Then I will put it this way. Now the bird is almost ready. I just want to make a few adjustments. For example, I will go to the layer with the body. It is already alpha locked. So I will grab Oli color and make a couple of strokes with a soft brush. Somewhere here. So it's not so dark. Maybe also like this. Now I think it is much better. We can finally proceed to the background. For the background, I'd like to use some dark blue shade. Let it be Tatiana. I will create a layer below all layers and drag the color on it. After that, I will insert the image. We already used it in low poly design. It is triangular abstract background. Let's rotate it. I will click Fit to Canvas and then also scale it. I think we can flip it vertical and horizontal. So the dark part will be here in the corner. Or maybe we can even move it. After that, I will change the layers mode. Let's try overlay. But then reduce the opacity. At my end, it is set to 59%. Once we did that, I'd like to play around with the colors of the eagle. So let me merge all the layers for it. And go to Adjustments. I will be using Color Balance. Just move the sliders. For example, I'd like to add a bit of magenta, also cyan, and yellow. You can select your own combination. I like it this way. Unfortunately, we can't see the percentage. But I like how it looks. So I will deselect now and only add the shadow. So let's duplicate the layer. Go to this one and make it pure black. We can do it by lowering the brightness. And after that we need to blur it. Let's try to use motion blur. And slide diagonally. I will set it to around 40%. And after that we can move it. Drag it up or down. I think this time I will move it up and match it with the beak. Just reduce the opacity. At this point, the drawing is complete. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me in the comments. And if you post your version on Instagram, make sure to tag me so I can see it. Thank you for watching and see you soon!